Hey everybody, this is Nate at Stowe Training. Been getting a lot of clients coming in, and due to the demographic that we train, that 45 for us is kind of like a baby. Guy signed up earlier this week was 82. So with this demographic, I run into a lot of folks that are experiencing pain now or have an injury history, and they still want to get strong and they still want to have more endurance and they still want to lose some fat. They just aren't sure if they should begin this exercise routine, or what can they do? Can they do anything when they're having this different pain? So that just begs the question of, should I exercise if I have pain? And for this video in particular, lower back pain. I'm going to back that up real quick and just talk to you about an experiment that was conducted a few years ago. It might have been 20 or 30 years ago. It's a really old experiment, and how that influences the way that I think today. In this experiment, what they did was took 100 people, had them x-rayed, and then showed those x-rays to doctors. When those doctors looked at those x-rays, something like 80% of them had something wrong, where the doctor's like, oh man, their x-ray is all jacked up. They're probably going to need some sort of surgical intervention. And it went to 90% when they included the neck as part of the spine, as part of the entire spine. What's interesting though is that even though 9 out of 10 of these x-rays showed that something was wrong, herniated disc or slipped disc or bulging disc or you name it, 3 out of 10 people were experiencing pain. So the minority of people, 3 out of 10 say, were experiencing pain, while 9 out of 10 had a really jacked up x-ray. So what this sort of means, or what this does mean, is that even though the x-ray looks ugly, you could still be pain-free if you have enough core strength, you have enough active stability to take pressure off those discs. Can you resist gravity enough that gravity is not pulling that spine together and really squishing on those discs? You can resist it because your abs, your core, your body, your muscles are really strong, okay? So totally possible to have a jacked up looking x-ray and be pain-free without having a major surgery or something, okay? So now, should you work out with that? Well, there's a very simple test that you can do. It's if you're familiar with yoga, you're going to do what's called you're going to do child's pose, and you're going to do cobra. And later I can link to those exact videos, but if you Google yoga, child's pose, and yoga, cobra, you'll see that movement. We're just checking extension and flexion of your lower back, and if that makes it go ow. If that makes it go ow, that's a really bad idea, you're not going to want to begin a weight training program right then. You're going to we'll go see a therapist, okay? I recommend Steven from Next Level Chiropractic. I can link his stuff up here in a little bit. Shout out to Steven. That's who I send people to whenever they're trying to touch their toes or something, and that makes more pain happen. Now, if you can go through those movements and, your back kind of bothers you, but that's not extra pain, that's not worse, it's just, your back always bothers you, then what we want to do is a retest method. What this means is that we're going to try one method to make your back feel better, and then check and see if that worked. And if it worked, we know that, hey, that's a problem, or that's a solution, I should say. And if not, we can move on to a different method. The two big things that we like to retest, and we get phenomenal results, where I'll ask somebody on a 1 to 10 scale, how does your back feel? And they'll say a 9, and 5 minutes later they're a 6, and then 5 minutes later a 2, and then another week later, my God, Nathan, you're Gandalf, you got rid of all this pain that I've been dealing with the last decade. The first thing is foam rolling. So we have people foam roll their thighs. Now, the reason this works is that it's a software play. We basically have a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. One of them is fight or flight, and it's real protective. And this protective tension can cause us pain. We start to feel pain because we're literally uptight. So foam rolling just basically gets you to chill out, loosen up, and voila, you start to feel better because you're not in this heightened sense of oh my God, anything I do could make my back blow out kind of mode. You're no, that's fine. Everything's fine. I'm okay. So that's the first thing we do. And if foam rolling is going to work, it works immediately. I will ask them 5 minutes later after foam rolling, 1 to 10 scale, where are you at? And generally it's massively different. So we know that's going to help. Now, if it doesn't help, then we also know that, well, let's do it for a minute, but let's not do 15 minutes because this isn't helping. On that 1 to 10 scale, it didn't make a difference. The other big thing that we do that really works is something called reciprocal inhibition that we like to use. Now, what that means is that when one muscle in the body does one thing, the muscle on the other side of the body has to do the opposite. So if you flex your bicep, the tricep has to get longer. You flex your tricep, your bicep has to get longer. We get our clients, depending upon that screen, but 99 out of 100 times, because we deal with a sedentary population, is we engage their abs, their core muscles. So we get them to engage those and really get them to contract. And as those abs turn on and contract, that lower back on the other side of their body has to lengthen and relax. And then voila, all that tension's gone and they're no longer experiencing pain. And that's it. There's a few other movements we can do, but really we just go through that system of, soft tissue on the thighs. We can try some different body parts. Again, test, retest. We like to engage the core, a few other muscles that, again, we could test, retest, and make sure we're on the right track. But overall, if you could pass the flexion extension test, the child's pose, and the cobra from yoga, you can do those. It doesn't cause additional pain. Come on, let's go do some weight training. This is going to be helpful. If those are bothering you, I wouldn't start a weight training program. I'd visit my friend Steven over at Next Level. You can just message me, but I'll also link to him on the comments. But go visit him. He'll get you out of pain within 1 to 6 hours, and then let's come lift some weights. But as long as those discs aren't ruptured, you're fine. You're not broken. No matter how ugly that x-ray looks, that's just being human. You might as well tell me that water is wet and ice is cold, because it's just, so what? We can work out just fine. If you guys like to work with us, we've got a few spots available. Just message me. We'll see if it's a good fit, and we'll go from there. Have a great day.